You're listening to the Intercoastal Podcast, part of the Destination Marketing Podcast Network. Welcome to the Intercoastal Podcast, where we explore the stories, adventures, and rich culture that make the Lowcountry unforgettable. This is a place to find your Intercoastal. I'm Daquan Mickens, and today we're talking about one of the most exciting events on the water, the Southern Redfish Cup. Joining me today is Chris Condon, the operations director behind the fast-growing tournament series. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Glad to kind of talk about this series. You know, we've had it in Beaufort a couple of times now, but before we kind of dive into the behind the scenes and the history of the tournament, can you tell us how you first got involved in the world of competitive redfish fishing?
Yeah, so I was a fishing guide for 30 years, and I used to do a bunch of tournaments in my younger days, and I really loved it and kind of had gotten away from it, and the opportunity came for me and my partner to buy this series 4 years ago that had already been in existence. It's now in its 10th year. And we jumped at it. I wanted to, I loved the tournament fishing. I just quit doing it. So it was great to get back involved from the different angle. And, so now I run it, and it keeps me in touch with the anglers, the fish, everything.
Yeah. So I want to ask, how has it been from a competitive side versus an operational side? What's the biggest difference for you?
Well, it's kind of tough because sometimes, especially when we're in Charleston or Isle of Palms, I feel like I could be out there doing quite well in them. But I love running it. I mean, I get to know the anglers from a different perspective. I'm not their competitor. I'm more of their friend, and I want everyone to do well. I want everyone to catch fish. I have no favorites. I'd like to see new people win it. I like to see old people win it. And it's just great to to not be competing with these guys and kind of be more of a mentor and someone that they can look to, to help promote themselves.
Yeah, I definitely could understand that. They don't see you as competition to the money and the prize of winning. So now you can be like more of a buddy, relaxing, and actually enjoy before, during, and after with them.
Exactly, and I mean, the money, they look to me because I'm the one, we're providing the money. So it is totally different than competing for the money.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand. For someone who's never competed in a Southern Redfish Cup event, can you walk us through what a tournament day looks like from early morning boat launch to the weigh-ins and then the after party?
Absolutely. So we have the captain's meeting the night before, and we just pretty much at the captain's meeting reiterate the rules and try to make any, tell them where they're going to be coming in and the procedure for the next day, where you're going to bring your boat in and where you're going to walk up on a dock and where we're going to do the weigh-in. Then Saturday morning, about 5 a.m., everybody starts lining up at the boat ramp, and we check their boats. We look in their live wells. We inspect the boat and make sure that it doesn't have any fish in it and no live bait in it and meets our requirements. And then everybody kind of congregates at the area where we told them the night before is going to be the blast off. And they go one by one. They draw numbers at the captain's meeting to see what order they're going to blast off in, which is always fun at the captain's meeting. People want to go first so you can get to the best spot, or if you think someone else is fishing your spot, you want to have the advantage of getting there first. But a lot of times these guys all spread out and go their own way anyway. But anyway, we call them one by one. We normally have 40 boats, so we're thereabouts, 20, 40, sometimes a little more. And we call them out one by one, and they take off, and they get out of the no-wake zone, and they speed to their spots. We also, do the national anthem, and we have a megaphone that we call their numbers off by. And then that's it. We kind of go back and set up for the weigh-in after they all leave. They're all out fishing, trying to find the fish that fit in the slot limit. So the competition is for the biggest fish in the slot limit. And in South Carolina, it's 15 to 23 inches. So they're looking for the fattest 23-inch fish they can find. So a lot of times they'll catch fish and it won't work out, and they got to find the right size. It's really heartbreaking to catch a 24-incher or a 27 incher. Because on a normal day, you're excited to catch those. But we're looking for the one that's under 23 inches. So that's kind of exciting. And from a tournament perspective, back when I used to do the tournaments, there's nothing that beats that adrenaline rush all day long. And when you hook fish, it's so exciting, and your partner grabs the net. And, so that's what these guys are out there doing, trying to find the fattest 23-inch fish. And then they all can start coming back at 2 o'clock, and weigh-in ends. We close it off at 3:30. So you have to be back to the dock by 3:30. And that's kind of the day.
Yeah, and then can you explain a little bit about the after party?
Yeah, so the after party in Beaufort, we do it at the Shell Ring, and it's a great venue. And a lot of times the guys are exhausted, but if you've done well, you certainly don't want to leave. You want to kind of stand around and have fun and gloat and get something to drink and eat. And Shell Ring has all that good stuff. And if you're the champion, you definitely aren't the first one to leave. And everybody just kind of stands around and talks about their day, and says what they used and, how they fished, what direction they went. And, they kind of they share their secrets kind of after the tournament's over.
Yeah. The whole process is a really cool process, because I remember being out there that one of the mornings, seeing the takeoff at the launch, and everyone's lined up in a row around the dock, and it's a pretty cool environment to see everyone stand up on their boats while the national anthem plays, and then you give them the mark to go ahead and start, and they just pull off one by one or by two, and it's just really cool seeing the boats go in a bunch of different directions to go fish.
Absolutely. It's kind of like our version of NASCAR.
Yeah, I agree. That it's definitely a sight to behold. I know it's a little early here than most guests do come out. Most people come for the weigh-ins and the after party. But if anyone was ever to go see or participate in the boat launch, it's a really cool experience.
And thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I would like to invite the public. I know it is early, but come and check it out early in the morning at first safe light. That's when they take off and we let them go. And then go grab some breakfast. But it is something, like you say, to behold.
I agree. So the Beaufort and Port Royal waters have a reputation of being both beautiful and challenging. In your experience, what makes the area unique for anglers competing in this cup? And how does that shape the strategy on the water?
It's oyster beds, it's open bays, it's saltwater inlets, but I think a lot of these guys look for little feeder creeks that dump into bigger bodies of water, and they stage, on an outgoing tide, they'll try to catch the fish coming out of these little tiny feeder creeks, and on an incoming tide, they'll try to get there, and sometimes they'll go up in the creeks. Other guys will fish in bays that just have rows and mounds of oyster beds. And they'll know which oyster bed to get to go set up next to, and they'll troll and motor or push pole down banks looking for signs of redfish. So like I said, they're looking for 23-inch redfish. Usually those type fish push little wakes or kick bait fish up in the air. Everybody's got their little ways to find them. Birds hover over them. So that's kind of what's beautiful about Beaufort. All those things take place there. There are a lot of oyster beds, a lot of marsh grass. It's just, the quintessential Lowcountry. We had a group this last weekend that fished with us in North Carolina, and they're from Beaufort. And they were like, man, this is beautiful here, but we can't wait to get back to Beaufort for the Beaufort tournament.
Yeah. That's awesome that people want to fish in their own area as well, as going out to different places and telling them, hey, Beaufort's good, or if not just as good or better than where you're at right now. So that's really cool that Beaufort has all that to offer. This is just me wondering, have you ever been in a tournament and you're getting closer and closer, but you haven't caught anything, or is it most of the time you've caught something and you're like, okay, this is one, but let me drive around to see?
Heck yeah, Daquan. I've been in tournaments where we've had nothing and then caught fish the last minute. I've been in tournaments where we haven't caught anything. I've been in tournaments where we caught fish all day. I've been in tournaments where we've caught flounder instead of redfish, or, a bunch of speckled sea trout. That's what makes it so fun. Like, I've started a morning out where we're catching 27-inch fish. They're too big. And you're like so disappointed, but it's hard to get disappointed, especially from a guide perspective, because when I'm running a charter, I want people catching 27-inch fish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you want to catch anything, any and everything on the guide versus an actual tournament where it's specific to what your qualifications are.
Yeah, and I can't even begin to tell you the level of stress if you don't have anything in the well come like 3 o'clock. We'll be sitting there, and fish till the last minute, and we'll be looking at our clock and know how long it takes to get back. And we'll do everything possible to fish to the last second, trying to get that fish or upgrade our fish, and know that we still have to be back before 3:30.
Yeah, that is tough.
It's strategy. You got to have the strategy. But then again, we'll have guys show up at 2 o'clock that have had their fish in the boat since like 8:30, and they want to just come and get back and babysit their fish until we call them to come on up.
Yeah, and how do they know that, this is a winning fish from the morning, or do they just like, well, I think this is going to be the one, let me keep it, and let me just have an idea?
So you got a measuring board out there, and you measure it, and if it's under 23 inches and you got a weigher and it weighs like 4.5 pounds, you kind of got a hunch, I'm in it I got the fish to win it.
Okay.
And so a lot of times they'll babysit their fish, just making sure they stay alive in the live well. And they may mess around and fish some more, but like for some of these traveling teams, they may not have another spot. They may have been planning to go to this certain spot the whole time, and it worked out for them, and they got their fish. So they have nothing else to do but just wait till it's time for them to come weigh them in.
Okay.
And then you got these guys that'll wait till the last minute, knowing they got the right fish, and they'll try to time it to be the last boat to walk up, kind of for theatrics. We've had that several times with this team from North Carolina that's won a couple of our events, and they like to be the last people to weigh, and it's pretty cool when they're the last people to weigh their fish and they win.
Yeah, it's like something out of a movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, but putting on a tournament of this size isn't simple. What are some of the biggest challenges behind the scenes that people might not understand that you guys have to do to make sure everything's running smoothly?
Well, there's a lot of setup, and I got a great team. And so we have to unload our trailer and set up these tanks where the guys that walk up keep their fish alive. They drop a bag in there, and they have a little bubbler they stick in. So we've got to get the water pumped into the tanks in the morning. We've got to make sure we have enough electricity, because you need about 5 outlets to run everything we've got going on. We've got scales, and we have to balance the scales. We have to make sure we're connected to the internet, because people can view the scores on their phone in real time as the event goes on. So we have to make sure all that's right. We've got to get tents set up. We've got to get our backdrop set up. We've got to get the area where we're going to be taking the pictures of the fish. It's just a lot involved that morning of and weeks leading up to it. We do a practice run, and we check our equipment over and over again. And this year we have a new leaderboard, the digital, so people can see their score, and we print out their ticket. We've got some new stuff this year. So that's even been more stressful the first tournament. I wouldn't say stressful, but we definitely we had to learn our new equipment this last event that we just finished in Hampstead, North Carolina. It's baptism by fire. No matter how many times you practice, it's still the real deal, and you got to make sure everything works. And it did work, and now we're even more excited to use all our new stuff when we come to Beaufort in the beginning of September.
Yeah, it's just fine-tuning and kind of figuring out what's needed to make this new equipment work.
Exactly, and let me mention this. We are live streaming the events now. So this last event, we had to kind of figure out where cameras were going to be set up. And we suspect as the year goes on, our live streams will get better and better as we figure out different angles and where to interview the contestants when they finish weighing their fish. But that'll all be in in play when we come to Beaufort, the live stream and the interviews. And it's really cool, the interviewing. It's kind of like interviewing a golfer when they finish, golf. They're kind of excited, and they want to talk to our interviewer, our MCJ. They're excited to go talk to him, and like all kinds of stuff comes out in these interviews. But so we just have to, when we're setting up in the mornings, make sure that we have the correct angles for everything and the cameras are in the right spot. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, and like you said, you have a great team that not only knows what they're doing, but they care for the fishers, they care for the fan experience, and then they care for, making sure everyone has a good time as well.
Yeah, and let me mention this too. This is a catch and release tournament, so 99.9% of the fish that are brought in are released alive and healthy. So that's part of the reason we have the bubblers. So when they walk up, the fish can, stay alive, because they get penalized if they bring in a dead fish a pound. So that encourages them to keep them alive as much as possible. And then we also have to make sure that they get the fish back in the water as fast as possible after the weigh-in. We don't want the fish stressed or anything. And it's pretty gratifying to go release the fish that you've been babysitting all day, hold him by his tail and watch him swim off.
Yeah, that is amazing. Do you have a favorite memory or like a moment of past tournaments, whether it's a huge catch or unexpected comeback, or just a story that really captures the spirit of what the Redfish Cup is all about?
Absolutely, I do. And this kind of touches on what I was saying earlier. We had these guys sitting in the leader chairs for like maybe an hour with some great fish, and people kept weighing fish. And we had a full field, like of 42 boats. And these guys stayed in the lead, watched all these people weigh fish. And then the last group that came in, it was almost like they'd planned it, came up with like 1 minute left, walked up with their fish, and ended up beating these guys that had watched the whole field not beat them, and beat them by like, I want to say it was just like a few grams. It was a tiny amount. I mean, the fish looked very similar, but they ended up beating these guys who'd been sitting in the chair. And instead of a big disappointment, and I had some pictures of this and put it on our Facebook page, but these guys, the guys that have been leading all day, and these guys that came in and beat them, instead of being disappointed or upset, they were hugging, and it was like they were friends, and they felt great, and they were excited for each other, and it was a bunch of hugs, not upset. Like, it was just a good feeling. And then I know they were disappointed, but they didn't show it at that point. They congratulated the other guys. That made me feel good about the whole tournament, and the suspense, and the crowd was all cheering. It was a good feeling. That was like a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely can understand. In the moment, you're like, oh, these guys beat us in the last moment, but being appreciative and for the moment, and not only that, seeing everybody come through and be like, oh, well, at least we got second place, or at least these guys won with the very last fish. You still want to be excited for them.
Exactly. Again, I'm going to touch on the golf thing. Like, you're playing against yourself, you know what I mean? It's like a mental game. So you always congratulate the other golfer that wins. You see the guy win the U.S. Open or something, and they shake hands and maybe even hug the guy that he just beat. Same thing with these fishing tournaments. I mean, you're playing against yourself, you're playing against the field, but in the end, everybody's friends. We're all fishermen, It's us versus nature.
Yeah, I agree. It's really cool, atmosphere to kind of experience. And speaking of the atmosphere, there's a lot more to these events than just fishing. What's the atmosphere like at the weigh-ins and the community gathering, and how do these events bring people together beyond the competition?
So a lot of people are coming to the weigh-in. A lot of them just for the first time. So there's a lot of questions in between, weigh-ins. They'll come up and ask us questions, and we'll tell them, hey, this is what we're doing. Come up here and look. We encourage people to walk right up and peer at the fish. And people love to see the live fish. It's exciting. And the guys hold up the fish for the pictures. But we try to educate the crowd. Those that don't know, we want them to all understand what's going on here. We tell them that it's catch and release and the fish are alive. And a lot of people will come to view it. They've never even caught redfish before. So they're just in like awe of how beautiful these fish are and the spot on their tail and just the way that these anglers are so comfortable handling them and the way we handle them with so gentle and weigh them. And people are interested in how we measure them, the way we slide the tail tight so we can get an exact measurement. It's all like, it's great for the crowd to come see and bring kids, and experienced fishermen love to come see it too. They're like, wow, that is a fat 23-inch fish. Because again, we're looking for the fattest 23-inch fish they can find.
Yeah, and for anglers coming from out of town, what do you think they take away from experience in Beaufort?
They love Beaufort. They all are like, this is a beautiful place. It's unspoiled. Even when we come as our group, we look forward to going to Beaufort because it's just such a beautiful area, and it's still like not spoiled by like tremendous buildings and stuff like that. It's just a beautiful old southern town on the water, on the coast. I've lived in the Lowcountry forever, and it just reminds me of just like, it's just a beautiful place. It reminds me of where I grew up, my neighborhood I grew up, salt marsh everywhere. And I mean, besides the boats we see fishing our tournament, we see people out joyriding. We see people going around in john boats. We see sailboats. It's just a beautiful community, Beaufort. We get to go eat some, good seafood. It's just a great place. It's like going back in time, really.
Yeah, it definitely gives that feel of a water town, but not oversaturated.
Exactly. Port Royal is awesome too. When we pull into Port Royal, we're just like amazed that it's still like untouched.
Mm-hmm. I agree. For someone listening who has never been to a tournament or is thinking about participating, what is your advice for getting involved, whether it's an angler, a volunteer, someone who's experienced, or, this could be their first time competing in any tournament?
I encourage everyone to just get started doing it. You know what I mean? We had this group that won in Beaufort. Their team name was Papa Fish. They were only in their second tournament ever and had only been to Beaufort one time. And they got there and they pre-fished a couple days and they ended up winning. So it's kind of like, just get doing it. Just start doing it. Just start doing our events. Just start red fishing. Just start practicing. Don't be scared. Anybody can win these events. It's like uncontrollable who can win. It's not like it's rigged in any way. Some guys, there's no special talent that you have to have. You just got to know how to fish and throw a rod. And even if you don't know how to do that, just start doing it. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, no, I agree. It only takes one fish to win, right?
That's right.
Just have to be the right size, and you never know what else everybody else is catching. If it's if it's the winning weight, then you'll be a winner.
Or you'll get it in the top three. We pay out to third place, and it's the top two fish. So I just wanted to clarify on that. It's a combined weight of two fish, and that's because that's what the South Carolina allows you to do. So we bring in two fish. And we also have a big fish pot for the biggest fish, which is a separate little category for people to sign up in. So that's just a little part of the logistics of how our tournament works. It's a combined weight of two fish in South Carolina between 15 and 23 inches, and then we have a separate pot for big fish. But yeah, you never know. It could be a day where everyone's struggling. You know what I mean? Your fish may be good enough.
Yeah, it's literally anyone's game when fishing.
Yep.
But big thanks to you, Chris, for joining us and kind of giving us a peek into the exciting world of Southern Redfish Cup. Can you let the listeners know where they can find your information or where they could get involved?
Yes, you can go to southernredfishcup.com. And there's a lot of details there, and there's links to our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and our YouTube page. And there's just a ton of information. on our website, and you can see all the old tournaments. You can see our promotional stuff at any of those sites. But on our Facebook, we normally, set up a tournament on the Facebook page, and we post all the pictures after the event. I just spent the morning posting our pictures from this Hampstead, North Carolina event we just had. So you could go back a couple, posts, and you'll find the Beaufort or Port Royal event from last year and see the team that won last year.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to having you guys back here in Beaufort and Port Royal and kind of doing that again this year. So whether you're an angler or just a fan of the sport, there's nothing like the energy a tournament day in Beaufort brings. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Intercoastal Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on social media at visit_BeaufortSC on Instagram or at BeaufortSC on Facebook. Like, subscribe, and leave a review. And share this episode with anyone who loves the Lowcountry. Until next time, y'all. This has been another episode of the Intercoastal Podcast, hosted by Daquan Mickens and the team at Visit Beaufort, Port Royal, and the Sea Islands. Produced by Revolt.